Wait. Don't scroll past. Just give me 30 seconds. If you're in a rush to get somewhere else, this isn't for you. But if you're tired, listen closely. The loneliness you're feeling right now is not an accident. It's not a glitch in the system. It's not a punishment for your past mistakes, and it's definitely not a sign that there's something wrong with you. It's not the result of a wrong turn that left you stranded. It is intentional, and the reason behind it, the real reason, not the Hallmark card version people give you when they don't know what else to say, is going to completely redefine how you feel when you're alone. This message was built for a very specific kind of isolation. I'm not talking about the person who chose to be a hermit. I'm talking about the loneliness of the woman who desperately wants to be seen, but isn't. The loneliness of the one who tried to find her person, her tribe, her community, and came up empty-handed. The ache of looking around and seeing everyone else hitting milestones with a partner while you're walking this path entirely on your own. If that's where you are, stay with me. What you're about to hear will change the name of what you're going through. And when the name changes, the weight of it changes too. You've learned how to function alone. You don't do it because it's easy. You do it because you're capable. You handle things. You fix the problems. You move the needle. You wake up early, you grind through your 9 to 5, you make big life decisions without a second opinion because there's no one there to ask. From the outside, people see someone who has it all together. They see a strong, independent woman. And you don't correct them because you don't know how to explain that being capable isn't the same thing as wanting to be here. That forced strength isn't the same as true power. That an independence you never asked for doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like a sentence. The loneliness you feel isn't from a lack of people. You have people. Your calendar is full of Zoom calls, errands, and small talk. It's the lack of a specific presence. Someone who stays. Someone who sees past the mask you show the world and recognizes the version of you that's hiding. Someone who knows your story so well, you don't have to give the previously on recap every time you talk. Someone who remembers the tiny detail you mentioned 3 weeks ago. Someone whose presence makes the silence feel like a warm blanket instead of a heavy vacuum. And what hurts the most isn't just the absence. It's the silent comparison you make. Not out of bitterness, but out of genuine confusion. When you see people who seem to have everything you're praying for, and they didn't even have to work half as hard as you did. You're not ungrateful. You're just confused. This message is going to give you the why. And that why changes everything. 3 things before we wrap this up. First, the Hebrew name for this specific kind of separation you're in, and what it reveals about what God is doing in the dead silence of your solitude. Second, a 3-step protocol to flip the script, turning loneliness from a waiting room into a war room. Third, a declaration that will shift your perspective every time you walk into an empty house from this day forward. Don't check out before we hit all 3. Close your eyes for a second, or just look away from the screen. What I'm about to show you requires your full attention. The divine filter is active in your life if you recognize at least 3 of these 5 signs. Sign number 1, the almost connections. You've tried. More than once. You've had relationships that looked promising, but just couldn't cross the finish line. Connections that started with a spark and then just went cold. Groups that felt like home for a month and then suddenly felt like a foreign country. And you keep asking yourself if you're the problem. You aren't. It's the Badad filter. Sign number 2, the solitary growth pattern. Your biggest breakthroughs, the ones that actually stuck, the ones that changed your DNA, always happened during your loneliest seasons. Not when your life was crowded and busy. They happened in the quiet. In the seasons where your inner circle was down to 0. That's not a coincidence. That's the pattern of the set apart. Sign number 3, clarity that fades in a crowd. You've noticed that when you're around too many people, your inner voice gets drowned out. You find yourself adapting, adjusting, and molding yourself to fit the room. You start talking at the group's rhythm, laughing at what they laugh at, nodding along with opinions that aren't even yours. Not because you're fake, but because of social survival. Then, when you're finally alone, you find yourself again. You remember who you actually are. That recognition is the badad telling you who you are outside the noise. It's your true identity emerging when the social masks are finally off. Sign number 4. Your deepest prayers happen in the silence. Not at the Sunday service, not in the small group, not in the prayer circle. They happen at 3 a.m. in the early morning hours. When it's just you, the screen is off, and the world is still. The most intense connection you've ever felt with God happened in that isolation, even if you didn't know the name for it yet. Sign number 5. The feeling of being prepped. You carry this sense of expectation. It's not anxiety, it's an awareness. You know that what's being built inside you right now is going to be necessary for something that hasn't arrived yet. It's as if this loneliness isn't the end of the story. It's the training sequence before the main event. If you recognize 3 or more of those, I want you to comment, "I recognize the badad." It's a declaration that names the process. Stay with me until the end, because what's coming next recontextualizes every one of those signs, so you'll never see your solitude the same way again. Take a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you doesn't work if your attention is divided. There is a word in the original Hebrew that completely flips the script on being alone. That word is badad. It means separation, sacred isolation, or the state of being set apart for a purpose. It doesn't mean rejected. It means quarantined for preparation. You probably grew up hearing that being alone is a result of some character flaw or a lack of faith. People told you that if you just prayed harder or trusted more, the right person would show up. And when they didn't, you started interpreting your loneliness as evidence that God was skipping over you. That was the cost of the misunderstanding. Years of interpreting sacred separation as divine rejection. But badad appears in the very first verse of Lamentations. How lonely sits the city that was full of people. And the most revealing use is in Deuteronomy 32:12, where God talks about Israel in the wilderness. The Lord alone, badad, guided him, and no foreign god was with him. God's badad. Over Israel wasn't abandonment. It was exclusivity. It was a God who wanted to be the only one guiding them before any other voices could get in. He wanted them to learn how to filter the right presence from the wrong one. Israel's desert season was badad. Not a prison, but a sacred separation. A space where God could lead without interference. Where his voice was loud because there were no other voices competing for the signal. The loneliness you're living in right now might just be your badad. It's a space where God is forming you without the interference of people who will arrive later. If they arrived now, they would mold you into someone you aren't meant to be. This loneliness isn't the price you're paying for your life. It's the classroom for your identity. Think about 2 stories. One biblical, one from nature. Look at Mary before the Annunciation. Before the angel Gabriel, before she was called highly favored. Before any of the fame, she was just a young woman in Nazareth, a town so insignificant that people asked, "Can anything good come from there?" She wasn't in the royal court. She wasn't at the temple. She was in a quiet, forgotten corner of the world. And it was there, in the badad of an ordinary, unnoticed life, that the call arrived. Mary wasn't doing anything influencer-worthy when the angel appeared. She was just living. But in the silence of that low-profile life, something was being forged. A character, a faith, a willingness to say yes to the impossible. God didn't choose the person who was most visible. He chose the person who was formed in the silence. Now think about a root before the flower. A plant spends the majority of its growth cycle invisible. The root system has to go deep into the dark soil before a single leaf ever breaks the surface. And the depth of that root determines how high the plant can eventually grow. What is growing in you during this Badad? What's being forged in the quiet is your root system. The bloom is coming, but it cannot come until the roots are ready to sustain it. The connection between Mary, the root, and you is this: invisible formation always precedes visible revelation. Badad is not your final destination. It is your prep station. And if you interrupt the prep before it's finished, you sabotage the reveal. Let me stop for a full minute. Here are 4 objective facts about your life right now. 1. The Badad you're living in isn't the result of failure. It's the result of selection. God has separated the one who needs to be formed before she can be revealed. 2. The people who didn't stay weren't a mistake. They were a filter. The Badad removes anyone who would have arrived too early and stunted your growth. 3. What is being built in you in the silence is exactly what you will need when the spotlight hits. 4. This season has an expiration date, but it ends when the formation is complete, not just when you're tired of waiting. And here is who you are in the middle of all this. The Badad reveals 3 identities, each with its own green light to move forward. Identity 1. The set apart. You aren't alone because you weren't chosen. You are set apart because you were chosen for a process that can't be done in public. Badad is a sign of selection, not rejection. This identity gives you permission to stop interpreting your solitude as not being enough. Identity 2. The formed in silence. What's being built in you can't be built in a noisy room. The deep identity, the kind that can actually handle the weight of what's coming next, is only forged in the Badad. You are being formed right now. This identity gives you permission to treat the silence as sacred ground. Identity 3. The revelation. Ready. The Badad has an end. And when it's over, what was built in the dark will be revealed in the light. Not for just any situation, but for the exact context that was being prepared while you were being prepared. You are being formed for a specific encounter. This identity gives you permission to wait without desperation. Comment below, "I am formed in the silence." It's a statement of fact. And if this message is hitting home, make sure you're subscribed. The next one continues the process. What I've given you here is the roadmap to recognize and cooperate with the Badad. But this process has layers. Every stage has its own protocol. If you want to dive deeper into how these cycles work and get specific prayers and scriptures for each stage, check out the Miracle Journal in the pinned comment. But don't do that yet. First, do tonight's protocol. Cooperate with the silence first. The Badad Protocol. 3 moves you can start tonight. Move 1. Change the name. Today, when you feel that wave of loneliness hit, don't fight it. Don't run from it. Don't try to drown it out with Netflix or mindless scrolling. Sit with it for 3 minutes and change the name in your head. Shift it from loneliness to Badad, from abandoned to sacredly separated, from unchosen to set apart for formation. The name you give your feelings determines what they produce in you. Move 2. Listen in the silence. Once this week, just once, turn everything off and sit in the quiet for 10 minutes. No formal prayer, no laundry list of requests, just available silence. A silence that listens instead of talks. And just ask one question. What's being formed in me during this season? Don't demand an immediate answer. Don't expect an audible voice or a dramatic vision. The answer might come hours later as a sudden moment of clarity about something totally unrelated. It might come as a quiet thought while you're doing the dishes. It might come as a strange peace over a decision that used to stress you out. Silence doesn't have to be loud to be effective. It just has to be intentional. Move 3. Declare your cooperation. Out loud, say, I cooperate with the Badad. I let go of the rush to find my person. I trust the formation process. I will be revealed at the right time for the right place. Say it once, out loud. The sign that it's working won't be a sudden rush of euphoria or your phone blowing up with dates. It will be a strange kind of lightness. The weight of the situation will drop, even if the situation itself hasn't changed. In the next 72 hours, 3 things are going to be launched against what we've established here. Not as a possibility, but as a certainty. Tactic 1. The urge to fill. A voice will tell you it's time to stop waiting and start making things happen. It'll tell you to force a connection that isn't there, or settle for someone just to stop the silence. That isn't the voice of courage. That's the voice trying to break the Badad before the work is done. There is a time to hunt, but there is also a time when hunting too early ruins the formation. The weapon against this? Repeat, I cooperate with God's timing. Tactic 2, the paralyzing comparison. You're going to see someone with less faith, less depth, and zero process, who seems to have everything you're still waiting for. The voice will use them to tell you that the Badad is a lie. But you don't see the price that person is paying for what they have. You don't see what they'll have to pay later because they arrived before they were formed. Your weapon? Remember that you don't know the depth of their roots. Tactic 3. Fatigue masquerading as discernment. The Badad is exhausting. It can be a long road, and there will be a moment where your exhaustion tries to trick you into thinking it's God telling you to give up. Fatigue is not discernment. Discernment brings peace. Fatigue brings desperation. Your weapon? Ask yourself, does this thought feel like peace or like panic? And watch out for the internal enemy. The voice that says, you're just romanticizing your loneliness. You're making up a spiritual story because nobody wants you. That voice knows your vocabulary. It knows your insecurities. It pretends to be mature and realistic, but it's not. It's the voice trying to get you to quit 5 minutes before the miracle. Recognize it for what it is and shut it down. Now close your eyes, or if you can't, just focus on one spot. You need to be fully present for this. Put your hand on your heart. Feel it beating. Feel your breath moving in and out. Take 3 deep breaths, slowly, in through your nose, out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3. Now, let go. Really, let go. Let go of the idea that being alone is a failure. Let go of the rush to escape the Badad before you're ready. Let go of the comparison to everyone on your Instagram feed. Let go of the heavy burden of needing to know why. Say it out loud. I let go. Again, I let go. One more time. I let go. Now receive the 3 identities we talked about. You are the set apart. You are the formed in silence. You are the revelation ready. Declare it. I am set apart. I am being formed. I am ready. Listen to the Father's voice speaking directly to your situation. Don't resist it. Just take it in. Daughter, I chose this silence for you. Not as a punishment, not because I forgot you, but as a preparation. The people who didn't stay weren't meant for this season. What's being built in you during the Badad can't be built in the presence of people who aren't ready for the woman you are becoming. I kept you separate because I know your destiny. And that destiny requires your roots to be miles deep before the flower ever shows its face. You are more ready than you realize. The encounter, the exact context that was being prepared while you were being prepared, is on the horizon. And when it arrives, you will finally understand why every almost was a filter. You'll see why every lonely season was a masterclass. I never abandoned you. I just set you apart. There is a massive difference. And that difference will be crystal clear when the Badad ends and the revelation begins. Receive the covering now, over your mind. protection from the voice that calls your separation rejection. Over your relationships, the wisdom to know the difference between a formation presence and a distraction presence. Over your timing, a supernatural patience to wait without panic. Over your solitude, a complete rewriting of what it means to be alone. Committed, commissioned, sent. Committed, commissioned, sent. Don't say amen yet. Hold the weight of that for 5 more seconds. Committed, commissioned, sent. Now say it. Amen. Write 1 word in the comments about what is being formed in you in the silence. Just 1 word. Making it public makes it real. There is a woman you know who is living in the Badad right now, but she thinks she's been abandoned. Send this to her. Just her name and the link. That's it. The next message is going to be about what happens when the Badad ends, when the context that was being prepared hits at the exact same moment you are revealed. Don't miss it. It is done. What was delivered here has been planted. You are not the same person you were when we started. Stay in the silence. See you in the next one.